Welcome back, everyone. We are getting ready for our first backpacking trip of the season. And I wanted to share with you a little bit about my backpack, the fit, maybe some things about what is in my pack. Yes, my pack looks like a big, fat, swollen tick. It is very stuffed, very packed, and I will be showing you why. But I do want to get into this and tell you a little bit about the fit and how we can maybe get the pack that we're using to fit as well as it can. At the moment, my backpack's a little loose. So if you'll notice that when I walk, it probably, I don't know if you can tell, but it can go back and forth, which is not great because as you're walking and going along, like you can see it now, kind of like this. If we're walking along, we're looking at all the great nature and it's just going back and forth and back and forth. And that's very unstable. If you get in some roots or some rocky ground, you're going to get a little off balance. So what you want to do when you put your backpack on is there are some straps here in the back. You can tighten up under here a little bit, but not too much because you want to be able to breathe. So just adjust this the way you would, feel comfortable. Your weight should be on your hips. Okay. So here's the hip belt here. This has a padded hip belt, which I love. And it is on my hips. This is the location of your hips. You want your belt to be, here's your belly button. I put mine under my belly button. It's a little bit more comfortable. You've got some organs up here you don't want squished around, and that's a good way to know where your hips are. But I'm very fortunate, and I'll show you in just a minute how I know where my hips are. But just make sure your pack is secure. We're going to go over how to pack your pack where the weight distribution is the best for your fit. I have packed this several times over the years, and I have honed in on what order the things that I have need to go in to evenly distribute the weight. And I'll show you with my body type how the way I pack affects the way I'm going to be carrying my pack and the load and the safety. If your pack, let me just show you, if your pack is loose, like, you want all the weight or a lot of the weight to be on your hips, but you don't want this looseness here because as you go up or down, it will pull you back and it could cause you to have an unsafe, unstable situation. So you do want to tighten that up to where it's snug on your back. Fortunately, I've got this, there's a little vent thing here, and that's really cool. So you want to tighten that up to where, it's not tight, but it's also not pulling you back. And also, I love this pack. It goes around and down, and you can't really see on that side, but it comes around and down towards the back, and that's really great. So I'm going to take this off, and I'll show you where where some advantages are of having my body type, how to fit this pack on, and we're just going to, when we take it off, I'm going to take it off safely. We're going to loosen everything up. I even these are little straps here that loosen the top and get the top as tight and close to you as possible. Oh, another thing, let me just pull it this way. If you're wearing a wide brimmed hat, make sure it's can be a little squishy because you don't want the back of your pack the whole time like bumping your head because that's just ugh. Something like this I will be wearing. This is a little warm for me, but I'll be wearing a like a bucket hat when I go on my backpacking trip, and it's got a soft back, so that's something to consider. But anyways, I'm going to loosen this up. Loosen up all your straps. Just let this sucker hang and undo this, and I will show you what all's in my, I'm going to go ahead and take my bear can off. I'm going to show you what all I've got. Oh, look at this. You got to get this part off first or it won't come off. You want to take it off. You want to grab it. There's like a handle on this one, and you can just slide it down your leg. The things that you have bought here are very expensive, so it's good not to just be dropping it everywhere. But if you can slide it down your body, put it on. Also, the way you put it back on is you can slide it back up because it's likely going to be pretty heavy. And then you put your arm in, you put your other arm in, and then you put it on and you tighten it all up. And we'll do another video with a few more details with that and how to properly get your backpack on. If not, there are a ton of great videos out there. So I'll show you how you're going to find your waist. I am very fortunate because I have a very well-defined waist. I'm going to pull my shirt so you can see. You can see that the waist goes in and then goes out right here. I have a very distinct advantage for backpacking because my hips can hold the weight of the pack. If you have a more streamlined like body shape, that's going to be a little more difficult for you, and you're just going to have to maybe look where your belly button might be and then go around and then down a little bit. And you might be able to, if you you might be able to feel your hip bones, and you want the pack to rest on top of your hip bones like that. And also I have another advantage. I also have a back that goes in a little bit, and so that is also just a great way to hold the pack. And so the bottom of my pack and the waist and the hip belt go right around. So I'm very fortunate to have a well-defined hip area, and it makes backpacking so much easier. Okay, the next segment we're going to do, I'm going to show you what is in my bag and why I've distributed the weight the way I have. And I hope you enjoy that as well. Now we're going to go over what is actually in my backpack, also to make it look like it's so thick, and because it is. Let's look at this. I have tried to make this as light as possible, just about. I've got a few luxury items you'll see in a minute, but I want to go over what's in the backpack, how I've packed it, and maybe a few reasons why I've done it the way I've done it. And of course, you can do however you want. Now, in the last segment, when I was wearing the backpack, I looked and I noticed that my tent was just all askew. So just overlook that. When you've got a buddy with you, you can have them check your fit check basically, and make sure that, because that will, if your items are not balanced, that could be a problem. So what I've done here is I have taken my tent and put it on the outside of my pack, and I've also put an extra little strap on there to keep it a little bit more secure. And I'm going to take that off. So my tent is a trekking pole tent that my son gave me, and it's pretty light. This one's a very light tent. It is a 2-person tent. It's a Flash Air 2, and wow, it says minimum weight without tent poles is 1 pound 15 ounces. That's pretty good. Anyways, this is my trekking pole tent, and I love it. It's a single walled tent. It's very light. I feel like the further I want to go and the older I get, so the further in life I get and the further on the trail I want to go, I need the lightest stuff possible. And fortunately, this was gifted to me because that can add up a little bit. I also have on the outside of my pack my little sit pad. I take this with me on day hikes and backpacking. It's fantastic. It's insulated. It's very comfortable. It's very light. It was, I want to say it was only at the most $10, and it has been one of my favorite pieces of equipment. So I'm going to take that out and put that there. I've got a little tripod for when I go out with my camera, and it's just a little Gorilla Pod that like grabs onto stuff. I've used it before in the woods. It's pretty great because you can wrap it around a little tree and videotape yourself. It's just kind of cool, and it stands on its own. So also on the outside, I've got a 1-liter water bottle, the Mazama water bottle. This will be my first time trying this. I put it on, let's turn this around so you can see. I put it on the outside of my pack here. Woo! Right here on the outside, because on this particular pack, it will go in the side here to grab, but since it's 1 liter, it's a little large, and when you walk, it kind of hits the back of my arm. She does. Miranda from Miranda Goes Outside there is offering a smaller water bottle. I just haven't gotten that water bottle, and I've got some smaller ones, and I'll show you that in just a second. But I can't wait to try this water bottle out. If you'll look in one of my other videos, I showed when I bought it. But I also have like a little smart water bottle in the side. I'm going to just flip this over, little side pouch here. And these are super easy to grab when you're going down the trail. And it's a smaller one. It's not a 1 liter. It's like a, let's see, 700 milliliter water bottle with a little sports cap. People are moving a little bit away from the smart water bottles, but right now, for me, it's going to work just fine, and that's what I'm taking. Also, I have my Garmin InReach on the outside of my pack. What's interesting here in Tennessee specifically, a lot of the YouTubers that I watch are out west, and they have these wide open skies, and it's just fabulous. But let me just tell you about the InReach just a tiny bit. Here in Tennessee, we have a lot of tree cover, and that inhibits some of the satellite communicator like connectivity. But it will connect. It's just it has to work a little harder. The battery life isn't as long as if you had wide open skies. So if you're backpacking somewhere where you've got wide open skies and just lots of space for your satellite communicator to connect, your battery will last longer. But in the woods, it constantly is continuously trying to connect, and that will run down the battery. But it has lasted several days for me instead of several weeks, and I bring chargers. So, and I also have this cool Night Eyes S-Beaner. It's a slider, and it locks on, because I put just a regular inexpensive carabiner on it, went on a day hike, and put my backpack down for a snack, picked it back up. This little thing was still on the ground because that carabiner opened right up. So this little carabiner, this S carabiner, has little locking mechanisms on it. So back to what's in the backpack. Oh, also, I always have a bandana with me. I'm a Girl Scout, and we were always taught to have a bandana with us no matter what, and I pretty much, they're useful for everything. Let me loosen this up a little bit. This is the brain of the pack, and I'll let you know. Let's look in the top. In the very, very top, this is stuff that you want accessible to you immediately, or would want. And I've got in this bag is my 10 Essentials kit. And I'll go over what exactly is in the 10 Essentials kit. One thing that's very essential that is not on the list of the essentials is to have a paper in here in a baggie, that lists your allergies, all of your health information, your emergency contacts, things like that. So when you're off on the trail with people, if something happens to you, it's easily accessible to them. Also, the essentials are in here: navigation, band-aids, various things. We'll go over that. That's going to be a whole nother video. But just know that these essential items, or most of the 10 essentials, are going to be in the top of my backpack. Also, I've got my water bladder that I love in case I need to filter water or carry water, like extra water. And I also have my filter. Oh, that's not a filter. Hold on. Here's my filter. And I'll also have my water filter. So I've got that in the top. Boy, this is going to be a big pile of things. You're going to be amazed that it all fit in this pack, and you're also going to know why it was so fat. I also have wet ones that I carry with me, and hand sanitizer. So we've got wet ones, hand sanitizer, because the other thing we have is the necessities, the poop kit, so to speak. And we'll go over what's in my poop kit in another video and why I've chosen the things in my poop kit. But this stays in the top because you never know when you're out in nature, and you never know when nature's going to strike, and you're going to need that. So we're going to put this back in there. I'll put the 10 Essentials bag back in there. I also carry this little bag in my day pack. It stays packed. If I use something out of it, I will replenish it, but pretty much this stays like this all the time unless it's been used. And then I will, before my next trip, I will go through it and make sure it has everything I need in there. Let's open this up. You can probably see my kitty too. That's Newt. So also in the top of the brain in this pack, I've got my electronics, and they are in a bag to keep the water out of them. I've got my headlamp, I've got my extra batteries, I've got my microphones for recording so I can share all my grand adventures with you. And I've also got my little fun things in there too. I didn't put a lot of fun things in there because the more fun things you have, the more weight you have. And like I said, I'm trying to keep that weight down. I got for Christmas the cutest patootiest little acorn light. And yes, this is not a necessity, but I really wanted the acorn light, and I'm going to use it in camp in my tent. And I'm very excited about my acorn light. I also have my cork ball and my strap for hanging my backpack on a tree when we get to camp, so it's off of the ground when I hammock camp. I can put my backpack in my tent's large enough for that, but when I hammock camp, which is actually what I'm going to do on this next trip because I haven't done that, but I've been to this place before and I'm very excited because I know that I can hammock camp there safely, and there are plenty of trees and things like that. So I'm very excited to do that. But this is my loadout for when I tent camp. That way, because I know a lot of people tent camp. Also, in the top of my pack, I've got my rain gear. Sometimes I roll up my rain gear and put it in this outer pack or little pouch here. But this time I just put it in top. I've got my Frog Togs jacket and pants. And whether I take this or not, we'll see what the weather is going to be like. I will definitely take the jacket. I will always take the jacket because we're in Tennessee, and the weather here, it could be snowing in the morning and blazing hot in the afternoon and a tornado in the evening. It's just insane. But I also have, and I'll pull this out later, but I have a trash bag for a pack liner to keep it waterproof on the inside. So let's pull this out. In the top, I had the rain gear. The reason the rain gear was on top was because if it starts to rain, I'm going to need it fast. I do not want to be drenched. I do not want to be overly saturated with water, and I will put that rain gear on and we will just keep on keeping on. And it was outside of the pack liner because I don't want to have to open up my pack for the things inside to get wet while I'm looking for my rain gear. So, or at least keep it at a minimum. I've got my cook set here. I'll show you a little bit what's in it. I have my canister of fuel and my little cup and cook pot and everything here, and I'll show you that in more detail later. But I just want you to know that I've got this little bag, and it's inside my backpack there. And I love it. This bag, y'all, I know this is a little bunny trail, but this bag feels amazing. I have no idea what the fabric is, but I am definitely a tactile person, and it is so great. Anyways, I've got my sleeping pad. Now, this sleeping pad is a little larger. This is not an ultralight sleeping pad, but it's a deflated sleeping pad, and it can be inflated later at camp. And a friend of mine is borrowing this. I will not be taking it myself this next time because I'll have the hammock set up, and my hammock setup is about 1 pound heavier than my tent setup. So I thought that was an acceptable amount of weight to carry with me. to have just a little bit more luxury for myself. I also have stuffed in here. Lots of things are kind of stuffed in. I've got my jacket, my fleece jacket stuffed in here. And it also fills out, that's kind of adds to the puffiness of this backpack. But I've got my little fleece jacket. It all it is like an oversized synthetic, let's see, I'm guessing polyester sweatshirt that zips up, and it is fantastic. And it was just a very inexpensive thrift store find, and it's just like thrift store athletic. Also on this side now, y'all, this is one of my favorite things that I have bought, and this is could be necessary, maybe unnecessary, I don't know. It gives me the best night's sleep, and this is, and I will feature it at some point, but this is a sleeping bag liner, and it is a Sea to Summit, let's see, the Reactor Extreme liner, and it makes your backpack a little bit warmer. Not your backpack, oh, not sleeping in the backpack, makes your sleeping bag a little bit warmer, but it is so cozy that I have worn it like pajamas before. And like when my clothes just, it was going to be either too hot or too cold, one time I wore it at like pajamas, and it was so comfortable. And I cannot say enough about this, but I will probably do a little video on this at some point because I love it so much. Also in here I have a bear canister. Now we don't have, you know what would help is if I open this up all the way. We don't have a huge bear issue in our state parks, where we like in Middle Tennessee, but you know, they're around. But my biggest concern is not the bears. I am terrified of mice, so terrified, and obviously I don't want them in my food. This is an REI bear canister, and I love it so much. It costs a little bit less than, well, actually quite a bit less than the Bear Vault bear canisters. But what I like is I can get into it. I used to work in horticulture, and I would dig and dig and dig, and my hands just don't work as well as they used to. And I have never been able to get a Bear Vault bear canister open. When I found this bear canister from REI, which also there's another attachment and it can be bigger, but this is the smaller size that, you know, it all comes together. You'll have to look it up. It's great. But anyways, I'm able to push the button, like put it between my legs, and I just push the button and rotate it a little bit, and then I just push this button and rotate it a little bit, and for me it just, the lid comes right off, and I will be putting my food in here. I've got my toiletries in here because they smell, you know, there's a fragrance. I've got, I have a baggie that I put everything in. It's not waterproof, so I have this giant two-gallon Ziploc bag that I put it in, and then I've got these little canisters that I'll be putting like my pills, my medication, and my deodorant in. And also I have this little lid. We'll talk about this when we go over the cook set in another video. But I've got that, and I love it so much. And I've got my little pouch for warming my food. But I put that, I hope you're noticing how I'm layering it, and I will reiterate at the end of this video the layering that I have done. I had the bear canister on the bottom with food in it before, and it just did not work for whatever reason. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, it caused my backpack to feel 10 times heavier. It was wild. It was no good. Let me just tell you that. Okay, so, and packed around the bear canister, I have just my soft items. I've got my my little stocking hat for if it gets too cold at night. The temperatures can drop so drastically at night, or you're just not moving and you're hot during the day, so your body temperature is like way up here during the day, and you're moving around, you're exercising. I mean, if you think about when you go to the gym and how hot you get, and then when you just go outside, you can get chilled quite easily. So I've got my little hat. I have gloves that I take with me. And then my daughter made some actual wool socks for me. And they're super, super loose. And I don't walk around camp in them. They stay in my bag until I'm ready to sleep. And I put them on at night to sleep in if my feet are cold. And it just makes all the difference in the world. It is definitely not, all these things definitely are not going to get you on the front of REI magazine Fashion Weekly, but you will feel comfortable and everything. So I also have a sun hoodie that I can sleep in. So take, you know, some extra clothes, but this is a good sleep shirt because it does get a little chilly. Also, I have, and depending on the weather, I may or may not take these specific leggings, but these are lined leggings, and they're really warm. I have camped in these, and I want to say it was 51 degrees outside, and it was a little like it was cold, or it felt cold, and these worked great. So I really like those. Also in here, I've got, you can't really see in, but I've got my sleeping bag in there. But around the sleeping bag, I've got my extra socks. I have a thin pair of socks, and somewhere in here, I have my other pair of socks. But I'll just go ahead and pull out the sleeping bag. Okay, this sleeping bag, fantastic. It's a really nice sleeping bag that was gifted to me. This is fully compressed. A lot of people will say, just stuff your sleeping bag in your bag and all your things around in there. Well, this thing is so big when it's not compressed. It takes up the whole pack, and I can't get anything else in there. So I will completely compress this and stick it in my backpack like this way. And then I tuck, let's get those socks back out. Excuse me. In my backpack, let me see what else I've got. I've put on the sides, I've got my extra clothes and I put them on the sides, and it kind of wedges it in really well. It's just perfect. So I don't put it in this way because it will take up too much room. You'll have just it'll make the bear can too high. So let's pretend this is the bottom of the backpack. My legs are the bottom of the backpack. I put my sleeping bag compressed sideways in, and then I put my bear can in like this. This is the top of the bag. So I put my bear canister in like this, and I will put my softer items on the sides of both of these. This is the front of the bag, and this is the back. And it's really great that I keep it flat because that just adds the comfort when you put the backpack on, and it doesn't bulge. If it's like this, you've got a lot of roundness, and when you stuff your things around, to me, it just doesn't feel as comfortable. But try and see what you like, what works for you. And let's see, I've got for clothes, let's turn this over. That's a little better. Oh, also, this is flat, but I also have a pillow. This is a Decathlon pillow. It was $10. Fabulous. It's the top of it isn't plasticky feeling. It's kind of like a fabric feeling. But I slide this in the front of the backpack too. So it slides right in, and you just blow it up when you go to camp and have a little pillow for the evening. Let's see. And here's my next day's hiking socks. Here I keep dry socks. So this is my dry pair. I have a little thin pair for a camper sleeping in. Then I've got a pair of hiking socks for the next day if I need them. If I don't need them, I'll just rewear the ones I wore the day before. But like I said, Tennessee weather, you just never know. Also, in the little flat areas. And I pack multiple pairs of underwear. So here's like a little pair of underwear here, and it's all synthetic for me. It's not cotton. It does have a cotton middle, but the rest of it is all synthetic. I would say take as many pairs of underwear that you feel comfortable taking, but more than one pair, because as you sweat or get into some rain or just whatever would collect moisture to keep from getting infections or like just rubbed areas. Keep that dry. Keep those areas dry. All your bathing suit areas need to stay as dry as possible. Also, in the little flat area, told you I had like little luxury items. I'm going to try to see if I can find this on my phone, but I have the Gospel of John. It's like a really small. I was at the thrift store. I like to read the Bible when I'm out in nature. It's just kind of cool, and I get a lot out of that. But I didn't want to take a full Bible because that's really heavy. I have a waterproof Bible that I take on shorter trips, but this is just something from the thrift store, just one, the Gospel of John, and it's just real small. And if it gets ruined or rained on, it's no big deal. I can get another one. But I also have, dun, 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 I have like a little craft, but I like to make little friendship bracelet bookmarks. And I just took a little piece of cardboard, a binder clip, and then I also have my little nature journal. I did do a video on how to make these small nature journals, and they were specifically for backpacking for me. So I've got that and a pen, and I just tucked those. What's really cool is it's very light, and it just goes in this little bag, and there you go. And it packs flat. So along with the pillow, the Decathlon pillow, I can put these in my backpack, and it doesn't take up a lot of space or a lot of weight. But like I said, I'm going to try to find the Bible or the books. I am downloading books from my library app onto my phone for the backpacking trip. The piece de resistance, probably one of the most important parts of your gear that goes in your backpack, is this: a trash bag or a pack liner. I've got it. This is just a 30-gallon trash bag, and I've got another one tucked in there for an extra in case. You just never know. Having a good trash bag around is always good. They can be converted into a poncho. They can, you can just do so many things with little garbage bags, but you can use it for a trash bag or use a trash bag for a pack liner. Some people recommend contractor bags. No, sorry, not well, you can use contractor bags. They're heavy. The trash compactor bags, but I just don't have access to that right now. And I do have access to these. I don't waste these. If they get a little hole or something, I just bring it home, use it in my regular trash at home, and then get another bag to put in my backpack. And then it works out great. It's been used more than once. I'm not just taking it out and throwing it away. A lot of times I can use them more than once in a trip, but if I can't, I'll come home and use it for its intended purpose. I just really, let's put it back in. So here's a little bit how to put it back in. I don't know if we're going to have time to put it all back in at one time, but so what I do is I put the trash bag liner in, and then I take my sleeping bag and I put it in there sideways, like sideways. And then I get my socks and my underclothes, my soft items, and I just put them on the sides. Now, I'm making this look effortless. On my first backpacking trip, you guys, I struggled, I sweated, I packed this bag so many times, and it was frustrating. And you just have to give yourself time. Please do not think on your first trip you're going to pack this and you're just going to pack it once and you're just going to move on. It's just going to be glorious. It's probably not. So just give yourself grace. And see, these are flat, so I'm just going to push them all the way down. Like, you can't ruin it. Just push it down in there. Just squeeze it down. There's even room for other things, but I'm not doing that today. Then I'm taking my other soft items and pushing them down underneath the bear canister and on the side. and just really taking these smaller items and just squeezing them in where they will fit. Always keeping in mind to keep the sleeping bag and the bear canister in the middle, in the center of this, and not to one side or the other, because that will cause your body to tip. And we don't want anybody tipping. And if you do tip, you're with people and it's okay. But we want to minimize that. So we're going to put these things in. I'm trying to think of what all I've done here. Let's see. I think I'm going to put this in. Oh, that's what I did wrong. Let me put this out. The end of this is a little squishy, so it's smaller, and I can put my sleeping bag liner in that little spot. So this is how everything gets packed back in. And this is a 58-liter backpack. I know a lot of the YouTubers do a lot of like lightweight, ultralight things. Those items are very expensive. And they do, I mean, it's worth it if you're going to go long distances and things. So I'm not saying it's not worth it. I'm just saying that I don't have that available to me right now. And you're just going to have a bigger backpack to fit your larger items. They're going to be a little thicker. They're going to be a little heavier. But you know what? If you pack wisely, you're not going to have like a hugely, full backpack. One that's too heavy. You just have to take fewer things or try to pack more, mindful, like use your mindfulness. Let's be more mindful of the things we need and really assess our needs and wants. I'm going to be definitely doing that on my hammock camping trip, because there are so many little wants that I want, but I'm going to need for everything to be light. So when I packed this before, I was a little unhappy. When I just showed you, I was a little unhappy with how bulky the top was. It's really, I don't want the top of my backpack to be so heavy and top heavy where it's going to cause me to tip. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my rain pants in the top and not the rain pants in the jacket. And that is, like, we're always learning, right? That is going to cause me to have a little bit more space. This backpack has like a little flappy thing that if you don't want to use the top, like if you've got smaller equipment, you can actually use this as the top, but I'm using a brain. This is what this is called. It's called a brain. Some brains detach, and you can, like, what's really cool is they're like hip bags that you can do this. I don't think this does it. I'm not going to use it for a hip bag. 10 essentials. They're called the 10 essentials because they are essential. What we've done is I've looked up, REI has a great PDF that, this is my cook set, my goodness. REI has a great PDF outlining the 10 essentials, what you should put in a day pack, what you should put in an overnight backpack. And let's get this in here. And it's great. It's a great packing list, and please look it up. It will get you started. And it just doesn't cover the basics. It covers a lot of things, basics, and also like things you would want to, maybe little extras, a little reminders like, oh, don't forget your camera. Or of course we all have phones now, but like, I don't know, just fun things like don't forget your journal or things like that. It's good to have these tightened up as well, because anything that's loose is going to move, and that's not going to be okay. You don't want your things to move all over the place. Let's see. I will probably, on my trip, this will be even more full, because My hammock camping setup is quite a bit bulkier, so I will have to modify this pack a little bit for that, the packing situation for that. But let's see. Oh, also a little tip that I use, I lose everything that's dark colored, like at my house, when I'm packing on the trail, all the things. I always lose it. And so what I've done is I try to like label things, or like with this, I've got like a little pink, hot pink keychain on it. And that's going to keep me from losing it in the grass. I'm sure we all like the colors blue and green. I mean, this is neon green, so that's a little different, but we all like blue and green things. But I would suggest not using blue and green if you're trying to identify some things, because it will blend in. Like, you'd be amazed. If you're like me and you lose things easily, that's not going to be good. These side straps do loosen up. Here's my little, let me see if I can show you. Of course, there's no water in it right now, but on this bag, there's like a little side thing. Also here, I will keep snacks, ID, things like that. If your pockets don't zip, figure out a way to secure your phone and your loose items. Excuse me. And I'm going to stick this here. And here we go. All packed up and ready to go. All I have to do is add food and some water, and pretty much ready to go with this pack. I hope that you found this helpful, and I just hope this encourages you to get out there and try some things. And well, thanks for coming along for this journey, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. Bye.